chair. On the next item, because we had a technical glitch in San Diego, the Toronto minutes had disappeared. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of both the Toronto and San Diego meetings. Do I have a motion? Just so may Peter Marcus, District 25, a second. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Jay Whipple will give us the president's report. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. I've survived my first meeting. I have no prepared remarks, but I do want to tell you what a wonderful job your chairman is doing. Richard's been an integral partner. I've kind of started in November, but he's been an integral partner all along, and we're really lucky to have him. So thank you for having such a quality guy for the chairman.
Thank you, Jay. We're now going to have Bahar give us the CEO report.
Okay, are we going to have connectivity?
Yes, you do.
Yes,
yeah.
you need to plug in here.
Okay.
Okay.
So ready for that so quickly. Good for you. You guys are really way ahead of me. What can we do? Linda first, and I'll be ready in a second.
All right, we'll go out of order, and we will ask for Linda to give the lead counsel report.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. We still have our same 3 suits that we are dealing with, all discovery, where both sides ask the other to provide information to them. So that process takes a little bit of time, sometimes from like 3 to 6 months. So we are in the middle of that right now. So I'm reporting that we're doing discovery. They've asked for information from us, and we are in the process of providing that. And then we will ask for information from them, and they will provide that to us. And I'll probably report the same thing at the next NABC, but the litigation just continues on. We intend to fight this vigorously. Second case, Schreiber versus M.A. Lightman, Unit 144, and several other defendants. This is just reported to you for your information because we provide insurance for our districts and our units. So they have not sued the ACBL. They've sued a district and a unit and a club, and our insurance company is covering them. They too are in discovery. It's going to be a long litigation. It's going very slowly, but they are in discovery also, again, asking information from each side to present for their case. The last one is Peter Marcus versus ACBL. He's been joined by a couple of other directors. This is one of our former directors who says that we did not pay directors according to the overtime rules of the federal government. We believe that we did, and we are defending this case in federal court in Massachusetts. And that case just began maybe about 6 months ago, and it's in what's called deposition stage, and that's where our lawyers interview various people from their sides, again, to get information, and they have the right to do the same, although they have not done so yet. So it's at the beginning stage of the lawsuit. We are not in discovery, we're at depositions. We are interviewing the people who are suing us to get information from them. No filings in any of these cases, so nothing to report in terms of motions or anything like that. All of them, we think, have little or no merit, and we are defending all of them. Any questions? Okay, that's it.
Question.
Oh, yes.
Can you tell me how much you spent on the Blakely case?
I cannot tell you how much we've spent on the Blakely case because we have insurance coverage for that. So the insurance company will cover all of the litigation expense, no matter how much it is. So we don't get those bills. They go directly to the insurance company. And right now, we have nothing to report on the settlement front to you.
Get careful. It's narrow up here.
Yes, it is narrow. Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
going to plug this puppy in. You welcome to introduce me while I'm making sure that it works.
Okay.
I'm Bahar.
So Bahar Gudwani is now going to give us the CEO report.
An attempt to. Well, I will tell
Bahar
you.
Gudwani is going to give us the CEO report. You'll be able to hear him.
Okay, yeah, you should normally hear me. I'm pretty loud. Okay, it's been a busy time, and I want to just share with you first something that I think you're going to really like. Your chairperson and your new president have decided they want to be even more transparent than we have been in the past. So what the new president, Jay, set up was a paperless system for the board meeting, and I think 14 of our board members, 25 board members, participated in it, and as a result, a whole bunch of trees were saved, which is always good. We also ended up with the ability to have all of the different bits and pieces of motions, discussion items, visible to everybody who was working on them. We were able to capture all the different opinions about stuff kind of online. I watched Kelly typing away, changing a motion right there in front of everybody, which I thought was pretty cool. And we now have this list of, they called it MIM, Motions in Motion, and they're going to share the whole thing with you guys, which I think is great. You're going to get to see all the stuff, all the things that the staff created for the board to help them think about something. It's all going to flow through to you guys, so I'm really pleased about that. I'm showing you what it looks like. I'm going to show you how you use it when you get it. It's a Google Doc. Who here has used a Google Doc? Thank you. Well, those of you who haven't, guess what? You're going to get a chance to do one. You're going to see something like the CEO report, which of course is terribly juicy. Everybody wants to immediately see the CEO report. You'll see this little thing pop up with a link. You'll click on the little link. Another little thing will open up in your browser. And ta-da, you'll be at Philadelphia Progress Report. Okay, so what I'm going to do, rather than going through the whole thing that I gave to the board, you guys are smart, you can figure it out yourself. I'm going to go through at lightning speed, showing you the things that are in here, and then when you feel like it, it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but when you feel like it, you can go through it at your leisure and you can poke at it all. And you'll see how it links together. So the first thing I did was I told them that we've been paddling like heck. We're kind of like a duck. We've been calm as we could be on the surface, but underneath the water, we're really working hard. I gave them 6 areas of activity that we're in. We're involved in growing membership. That's our #1 goal right now. But we're also trying to help clubs, trying to help tournaments, trying to improve the internal operations. We want to strengthen the organization, and we've been trying to support the board. And, the board needs to have us do good quality work for it. I see Jeff's already yawning, so I'm going to keep moving fast. Under growing membership, there were 5 different things that we worked on. And the nice thing is that there's little things in here about each one of these. So there's a little set of documents on temporary membership. There's about temporary membership. There's about improving teaching. The new TAP thing we're doing, testing online marketing. Notice that I'm not sharing with you all of these details because what we're going to do is as soon as I'm done with all of this, we're just kind of showing you what's here, we'll do Q&A. And if I have to, I've got this already. I can come back to it and tell you more things to answer your Q with some of these A's. We did a lot of advertising. There are results in different themes we tried. We tried out whether or not mental fitness was an interesting theme to bridge people. Did they want to learn something new? Did possible new bridge players want to learn about socializing with other people? Not that likely for bridge players, but And did they want to play a fun game? So we tried out different kinds of advertising things. We have different keywords we tried. Brain exercises, for instance, was the most popular keyword. You've got to be careful if you try a keyword like board games for adults, because you get some people who are looking for the wrong kind of game. We figured that out. But we've been working on things here on the advertising front, and there are various comments on that. Landing pages. We worked on growing collegiate bridge. I don't know if you guys, Stephanie was out there working on this, but we're up now to 35 college clubs. up from 15 last year. So we are making progress. Last time I met with you, I asked you how many of you had found a college and had sponsored a club. Could I have a show of hands of how many of you guys? Okay, there's Nathan. Okay, good. 3, I think I saw 4 or 5. Now I count more than 5 people in the room, so I would love to see about 55 clubs over the next year, and we get to like 100 college clubs. It'd be a little bit more, a little bit more respectable. College practice room activity. We've expanded our presence in Mexico. This was a very interesting thing we thought about quite a while, but we believe that Mexico represents a very interesting opportunity for growing membership. I don't know if you guys know, but Mexico is a pretty big country. I know it's on the other side of a wall, but 127 million people down there versus 36 million in Canada, and we have 294 members in Mexico, and we have 17,000 in Canada. I mean, even Bermuda has more members than Mexico. So we've done, I think, a lot on membership. We're trying to help clubs. There's a list of things here, 6 things we've been doing with clubs. Reach, Big Heart charity game. Do people know the difference between the Reach test that we did in February and the Big Heart test we did in February? If Dennis is here, he can explain it, because he told everybody he could explain. Yeah, Dennis is in the back. I'm not going to let him explain it again. But we have been testing different things as far as pigmented points at clubs. We know that's important. And the Reach event was very successful, raised a ton of money and had a lot of participation. But the Big Heart charity game was actually a bigger game and had a lot of participation as well. So I think both were very successful tests. Co-op ad program, adult learning. We have a help desk now in place. How many of you have people who've used our after-hours help desk? Good, okay. More than have got college clubs, so I'm happy about that. And Friday night at the Teachers and Clubs event, a lot of people had used the help desk, so that made me happy. We've converted to using Canadian dollars in Canada, and then we've made a lot of progress in moving ACBL score replacements for it. So look at this, all this stuff about this. Helping tournaments, we have a new Purple Pass system. Has anyone yet used Purple Pass here in the NABC? Okay, you like it? Okay. You can get your miles and you don't have to carry around so much cash, and the way some of the stuff looks outside, it's a little sketchy outside a couple times, I've seen it, so I don't really want to have big chunks of cash in my pocket as I'm walking around outside. Organized a series of KO tests. We've created some sample regional schedules. We started reviewing all of our NABC contracts to try to see if we can improve where we're going in the future with those. We've got a tournament table estimator. We're trying to get an idea so we can estimate in advance where tournaments are going to be so that we can better staff them, make sure that we have the right kind of facilities in place. And it's something that we've done informally, but we tried to formalize it. We've been certifying some new tournament technology. I don't know if you've seen some of it, but we've had a lot of stuff for display on the wall kind of things for KO starts and the rest. We're going to be doing free tournament surveys. Every tournament in our network is going to get a survey, and we'll be able to get feedback then from all across our network on how the tournaments are going. And then we've been working on sponsors for the NABCs in particular. We have a great sponsor here for this event. Kraus has really been a nice sponsor. And you can tell how nice it is for an event when you have a good sponsor. It just makes a lot of difference. I think I played in the Golden Age Retirement Gold Rush or something like that, and as sponsored by Kraus. So there's more about all of this. For instance, I told you a little bit more about Purple Pass. Improving internal operations. We have now completed the phase 1 of migrating to a new customer relationship management system. It probably won't affect any of you in any meaningful way. I'm sorry to say it will not make your lives better, but it's going to make our lives better. It's internal. General ledger, the same idea. New payroll system, again, may not affect you, but it's nice to have a new payroll system. One of the benefits of the new payroll system, we can actually pay people in Mexico from a Mexican bank account once we have a Mexican bank account set up. Okay? Probation and termination policies are now clarified. We've also clarified a lot of other kind of day-to-day policies. We're strengthening our network security. People keep asking me, why can't we auto-renew their membership? Once we finish this process, we will be able to have auto-renewal of membership. It just will be a joy for you and for us. Ergonomic study for our staff. We're reducing the size of the daily bulletin here. If you notice, it's smaller. It's not just about saving trees, but it's also about streamlining the staff process and seeing if we can make it easier for our staff to crank out that bulletin. They're there sometimes at 3 or 4 in the morning, and we just don't want that. And then we've updated our conflict of interest and whistleblower policies. Okay. Strengthen the organization, Pianola. Does that resonate with you guys? That's the emailing system that's used in the districts and in the units. We've extended that contract, and we're working through that. We're supporting the creation of a new zonal authority. We were able, through the REACH, to close a $50,000 funding gap without having to reach into ordinary common players' pockets, which I think is good. And we completed a revision of the Life Master Rules. You guys know about that. That's where we said that people before 2010 could actually still be Life Masters at 300 points, even if they had lapsed at some time in their membership. And that was actually a nice thing for a lot of people. I hope you guys got some good comments on that. We did. Volunteer training, we have a PR person now, and we support an anti-cheating. Okay, so supporting the board is not as interesting to you guys, but we have tried to support the Board of Governors as well. I don't know if you see us doing that, but we've tried to keep you informed. We've tried to share stuff with you as we've been going along, and I'm really pleased that we're sharing with you, as I said, the details of the background of what we've been doing. There's certain people who are always coming and complaining to me. Barbara Heller's a good example. She's always saying to me, yeah, Barbara, that Bob never tells you anything, and you'd always like to know what the heck's going on. So, Barbara, this is for you. Okay. So between now and Atlanta, we're going to do specific proposals to implement all the cool stuff that the board has asked us to work on, which I think is great. We're going to be giving you financial estimates, and we're going to be trying to help them change any possible codifications. That'll be all nice motions that they can work on that you guys can then review. The committees, we've been working really well with, I think, the board's committees. The board's committees have gotten super active, and they're just doing all these. Paul Cuneo's committee, and he had Margot, he had all these different people. Dennis, we're working on all these things. I think we're going to have a lot of fun between now and Atlanta. And I think we'll then have good plans in Atlanta for the board to work on. We're going to have some major new initiatives. We've already done some stuff, but we're going to have a lot more stuff. And then it'll be a year that I've been around. It'll be time for them to come to me and say, Bahar, you're either doing okay, you're not doing okay, or you're doing somewhat okay. And hopefully you guys will give me feedback as well. So that was very short. Again, you guys now have last time I spoke to you, I spoke too long. Somebody said to me that I spoke too long, and I should have be more time. What kind of question? Well, that's great. Yeah, Peter. We've never met. Nice to meet you, Peter. We spoke on the phone, but I couldn't meet you. An odd way to cross the road via microphone.
A number of your line items seem to be moving to the idea that at least the first 13 turns being more Horn-Lake control and less local control. Table estimators, tournament estimation and staffing, coming up with schedules that work, or when they don't work, fixing them. There does seem to be a trend away from REACH as another example. Now regional, and regional that is being done from Horn-Lake, functionally in local districts. Is there any room at some point for input to the idea that maybe local should control tournaments more than Horn-Lake?
So he's asking about trends, frankly, I believe the trend is seen as the opposite direction. Board and staff had a really good discussion started the meeting about how we're theory change, how we like to see the organization change. Our recommendation, board ultimately supported, was that we should move away from punishment-oriented, top-down to an incentive-oriented, bottom-up. That's and I know that's not right, but you felt proud of me when I finally realized what it looked like. Many of us are living in a punishment-oriented environment when they fall directly on you. I feel like I'm in a punishment-oriented. It should be more about positive how you work, right? There's some director in charge, you get absolutely right, back down when people don't show up, and it's perfect. Unfortunately, there are some other people who are not experienced on both sides. And there's sometimes when the two people think they agree about what's going to happen, but in fact it happens when one of them walks away and we're upset about the discussion and the tournament property is why is it made every other table with 600? But the EIC is getting more 800. So, the nice thing about the table estimator, part of the overall system, it would let the EIC director in charge and the tournament operating chair sit down, talk through all this, what do we think is happening on Friday or Thursday? There's a holiday. Figure out what they think is reasonable for that event. And then they can sign off. And they both know that going. And people in one race and people in this district can both review it. Something screwed up, something doesn't make any sense, someone's raised flag, another chapter. The schedule, we provided some template for that, actually. I'm show you what they are. Find it somewhere on Facebook Bridge. That there's a set of potential regional schedule. And the goal for that, it was done as a discussion. And the reason we've done this discussion was we wanted to discuss what does it mean to how should regional, what should the structure be for regional. We were holding that various directors, various literature, publish will expose their idea of what it is. And then some other literature, how to run these could pick up what it modified it. It might be Thursday section, and everyone starts the light. It has a brand in it, and eventually you end up in a situation where you have to something that came totally out of thinking about. Another thing, the goal was to figure out how to get more people in the club. Getting pigmented, and we have some that are being read. I think one of them was the goal, but they weren't strong. They weren't as attractive as we thought they could be. There was a lot of people who gave input on what to do. I consider research all that we're doing on club on stuff. We've been going with what people out in the field and telling them they are kept. We have five. There have been a lot of great improvements on the board, but overall it's trying, and it's doing a lot of stuff. So I actually want to be honest in terms of the intent. Actually, what I'd like to offer in general, and more and so we try to rationalize as you go through this, you'll see behind the rationalized PowerPoint document and talk about ideas. Treat the ideas not as an announcement, and respond to them stimulated by them and come back with the No, Richard, you probably have done it. Okay. Any other questions you have? Most of you already know. You can ask me in email. Okay. Joe Jones will give us the financial report.
morning. This presentation with the documents as well as schedule the backup numbers about 18 slides, pretty quickly. Sorry. Is that better? Yeah. Okay. First slide, summary of 2017, revenue, expenses, as you can see, those revenues were better than budget. That increase back revenue versus budget, 2017. Membership revenue is down about $13,000. Membership is down a little bit, but that's a small increase. TDP up a little bit, 47,000. Regional sales slightly up. Other revenue is up, including $38,000 gain. Foreign exchange, $37,000 gain. NABC revenue tables were up about 4%. Year over year, tables were flat, but 4% better than budget. Meeting services expenses, which are basically the NABC expenses, were up by about $275,000. There was a number of things going on. First, the cancellation of the Orlando contract for 2022, $80,000. Attrition charges in Toronto of $80,000. Convention center costs in Toronto were higher than we expected, about 50. Expenses that were down included marketing. Marketing expenses versus budget were down $383,000. As you can see, there's a wide variety of items there. Payroll, membership marketing, cooperative advertising, programs, costs were all below budget. Information technology costs were down $29,000. Payroll, track support, equipment, various other expenses were all down. So the change in that assets for the year, higher revenue, lower expenses. We had $769,000 increase in that asset from operations, $700,000 better than what we budgeted. After we adjusted for the recovery investment plan, investment $680,000. Capital expenditures were $340,000. In the budget, that's $403,000. That's coming from the AS400 replacement project. On the balance sheet, we see increased investments by $2.5 million for investment. And our partnership increased $39 million. Moving to the budget, 2018. Taking lower revenue, that's lower revenue coming from lower revenue than 83. We had much fewer tables in 2018 and we had fewer regional sessions of revenue also. We're also investing in several key areas, improving increasing free training, adding club support, continuing IT initiatives, our marketing. Increase in the revenue anticipate include increase in membership dues. That's going to come from the benefit of dues restructured in April 2017. $200,000 from $75,000 for membership. Another approximately $100,000 from increasing incremental increase in $5,000 and $100,000 from increasing the member to $39. Other increases in revenue include registration fees, most of that coming from the NABC plus online game. We're going to have additional regional fee in 2018, with revenue there. And we also anticipate increased revenue in the CAT program. Decreases as mentioned, during the regular season, projecting over 1,000 season sessions in 2018. Hopefully we'll be more efficient with TDs working more table sessions. NABC, as I mentioned, brought 4,000 fewer tables in 2018. And we also had a reduced amount. Toronto had almost $200,000 for local incentives received. We also had another rebate that won't repeat in 2018. Club sanction fee, slight increase, decrease 37,000 participating, 2.5% decrease about what we decreased in 2017, but we also expect to get a little bit more club play from the we don't forecast gains or foreign exchange. We're also investing in field operations for $370,000, $180,000 for direct training, all part-time duties slated by the full-time mentor, and there'll be an increase on the job. Adding management support, adding a position to assistant director of field operations for Gary, and field operations. Expanding public support to include fine leasing, $75,000, part-time TDs who are on call, and again, we're not increasing TDs. Also increasing $370,000 for IT marketing. Four new positions in IT, project managers, developers. They have a number of ongoing initiatives, including the CRM project that replaced the 400. New match point engine, result gateway, software, rewriting free tracks, security upgrade. Marketing, two new positions, labeling coordinator, and a customer service representative. This slide shows comparison of 2018 budget 2017 and highlighting additional investments. Capital budget 2018 of two major projects. Again, the A400 replacement project, $350,000. That project will be completed in 2018. Also, energy conservation project in headquarters, $100,000. Install LED lighting in the windows and doors, and calibrate our heating air. We anticipate a 3-year payback on that. We'll have decreased costs for heating air and decreased maintenance costs. So looking further ahead in 2019, expect improvement to bring us back to a break-even situation. So we expect benefits to continue to increase with the new members and the dues structure of place last year will continue to attract new members. We'll improve the AAP schedule and we'll bring in more revenue. Also anticipate reduced expenses from field operations and with the major initiatives not keeping up for and IT costs. The final slide is a multi-year projection showing strong results in 2018 and 2017, covering the increased costs in 2018 and 2019 and further break. That's it. Happy to take any questions.
This year you expect 4,000 stables national. Where does the 300,000 increase in 2019 come from for NABC? You don't see any decrease in stable count?
There will be an increase. I'm not sure I got the question right. There will be an increase in 2019.
By how many tables and why? Why do you think?
Because the city we're going to next year, it's small, Las Vegas,
San Francisco,
and they'll want many more tables. Preliminary estimate, they'll be more of a normal year for us. Actually, better than normal year.
Okay, so that goes for the whole board of directors. Why don't we have more normal years?
Well, we strategy discussion. What I know is try to bring five around the country, and it's not fully
Yeah, we all understand that. I think with Kansas City and Lexington, Kentucky, I'm sorry, people came from there, hurts the overall organization from that perspective. So one last question. So what's the estimate for tables in 2019?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mitch Dunnett. I'm wondering, has there been any discussion about increasing funding to the Educational Foundation? Because what we're seeing, we're seeing growth raising fees and dues, things like that, but we need to get more members. Has there been any discussion about increasing funding to the Educational Foundation?
But do you want to?
We supported International Bridge and charities so far, and we've got Junior Fund and education on the radar. We're going to try to bring events to them that will help fund both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
we're going to go to the chairman's report and try to summarize this possible because we have a lot of motions and other requests for time voting, so I want to try to accommodate everybody.
I'm going to ask in the report, we start with 181-40 on the second page. This was the motion from the San Diego Board of Governors meeting to request that reimbursement for members of the Board of Directors and at the conclusion of the Board of Directors meeting rather than being continued to Sunday as they now are. The Board of Directors other meetings like the teachers' reception and various other meetings that are held. However, the Board of Directors recognized, I think, the issues this creates with the Board of Governors, and we are forming a committee of the Joint Committee of the Board of Governors and Board of Directors to try to facilitate better relations between the two. I've already got 2 members of the Board of Governors willing to serve with me. I'm going to District 12. The next item, Danny, 181-11, the ACBL has approved revised convention charts. This was promulgated by the Conventions and Competitions Committee, on which Danny served and was an integral part. This is really not the time for questions about details of what's on the chart. The ACBL will go through a lot of publicity about the changes, but Danny can summarize far better than me what the changes are.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Danny Sprung, District 17. Just quickly, we worked on this project for 2 years. We now have new charts. The old charts, general, mid chart, and super chart are gone. We're going to have 4 charts. 2 of them are basic and basic plus. They're for the limited events, and then an open chart, and then an open plus chart for high-level national events and some of the top brackets and regionals and such. It's scheduled to be implemented in Hawaii. As Richard mentioned, there's going to be some publicity. I think there's going to be at least 4 articles in the monthly bulletin, and I'll be available for questions after the meeting if anybody else has anything they want to know.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for all of the committee's work on this. A lot of effort was put in. There are a number of items next that are changes in master points at various events. The all of this, the board of directors is still working on trying to implement strength of field master points. So these are all temporary patches which we hope will soon be superseded by strength of field, and we're getting closer. The board is getting closer to having a proposal, and I guess hopefully by next year, if we're lucky, we'll have master points in most tournament events based on strength of field, probably not in clubs. I am now going to move over to 18115. The ACB, the Board of Directors approved up to 8 regionals at sea. There will be, as part of the deal, the travel agencies that are running these regionals are going to be required, as I understand it, to coordinate better with districts before they schedule them. There'll only be one more this year in 2018. It may take a while for there to be more. Moving to 18120. These are changes in stacks. The first change that was approved was that now when you hold a stack, the ACBL specifies your club session. So 1 is Monday morning, 2 is Monday afternoon, 3 is Monday evening, etc. And based on your start time, you're automatically pigeonholed into morning, afternoon, or evening. The district sponsor for stacks, for example, an 11:30 game is considered a morning game for your sanction purposes, but the district sponsor of a stack can allow your 11:30 game to be considered an afternoon game solely for purposes of the stack. 1 hour variation is permitted, and now a club can hold a stack for a session for which it does not have a sanction, provided there's no other club within 25 miles for that particular session. So that adds more flexibility in running stacks. The other change that was made is basically clubs are going to be required to use hand records in stacks if they want to be in the field, the overall field, for either the open, limited, or invitational pool. If the club chooses not to use hand records, they can still participate in the stack, but there will be a 65% of stack rating instead of 100% of stack rating, and they will not be in the pool for the overalls. Or if the club has an accident, which unfortunately does happen, and uses the wrong hand records for a session, they'll get placed in the 65% pool for that particular session. ACBL bylaws. I have 2 things to comment on here. First of all, as you will recall, a term limits amendment passed in the Board of Directors in San Diego. That requires a second reading, and due to a technical glitch, however, the required publication in the ACBL bulletin before the second reading didn't happen. So that is going to be voted again in Atlanta, and if it passes, then we will get to approve or disapprove it at our Atlanta meeting. There was also an approval of many changes to the bylaws, most of which are technical in nature. We're a New York corporation. New York changed its nonprofit law recently, and there are many changes to the bylaws that we need to make to conform to New York law. So those changes were approved. They will also get a second reading at the Atlanta meeting, and then we will hopefully, then we'll have the opportunity to vote whether to approve those changes. There were some relatively, the technical changes in the binding arbitration and conflict of interest policy. Going over to the second to last page, 181-51. The Board of Directors voted to change the schedule at the Spring Nationals. Obviously not here, but for next year in Memphis, the LEPAR open pairs will move from, impairs, will move from Friday and Saturday to Sunday and Monday, and the silver ribbon will move to Friday and Saturday. The reason for this change is that those of our members who are not seniors on Sunday and Monday really have no NABC event to play in. So by making this switch on Friday and Saturday, you may say, oh, the only thing we have is the platinum pairs and the silver ribbon pairs, but there will be the 0 to 10K Swiss. So we think that change will get rid of sort of the glitch in the schedule so that we won't have 2 days where a big segment of our bridge playing population will not have an NABC event to play in. The other change that was made concomitant with this, the Flight B and C North American pairs will be moved from Sunday and Monday, the first Sunday and Monday, to the second Saturday and Sunday, so that it will, we think this will allow many of those players, or the board thinks this will allow many of those players who are still working, it will be easier to come in on a Saturday and Sunday, and it should also help with
the stack running a Swiss team. That Swiss team is then master pointed as a completely independent site. It's not, there's no overall with other locations. Do they have to use the stack hand records since they were going to be master pointed separate anyway?
Anybody have an answer to that on this stage? I think the answer is no, that you do not have to use the hand records to run a separate Swiss teams. However, maybe management can figure that out and get something up as to whether that will be required. Okay, any other questions? Yes, Mike.
Adam Wildavsky, District 17. I'm curious why the clubs have to use the same hand records as the other clubs, since they're being match pointed in their own field.
They will be match pointed across the field for overall awards, just in their own field for section awards.
Okay, and yeah, I guess I wasn't. They're being match pointed across the field, but they're playing in their own field in the club. I mean,
the board decided that it would be a fairer event for overall purposes. Stacks are not inherently a perfect event, because obviously the difference in quality of fields from one club to another can be substantial. But it was felt that at least for overall awards, if you match point across the field, there may be a little more fairness. It was felt that section awards should remain within the club. People don't like it when they have a section second and they come back after match pointing across the field and they're below average. So that was left alone.
All right, thank you very much.
So Gary Blevins, our head of operations, who deserves a round of applause for all the great work he's been doing on this event. Thank you.
I think you have to speak up.
Yeah, so he and Wendy and Monty and Mark have been running this event. Gary reminded me, and he wanted you all to know, that there are policemen wandering all over the place. And the reason they're here is not because we did not do anything wrong. It's St. Patrick's Day. So there apparently are thousands of policemen roaming up and down the halls, arresting people left and right. Please don't drink too much or do anything bad, and all you should be wearing green or orange.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any motions? One more question?
Yeah, sorry, last question on the stack. I'm trying.
Identify yourself,
So back to the question on the facts. So I'm confused about, say, a club that doesn't have a dealing machine. Are they ineligible for overalls?
No, they can do one of two things. One of three things. They try to borrow a dealing machine. If you have at least six tables, I think the old movement would give out the hand records, let the people make the boards, and then move the boards before the first round. That is still permissible. You don't have to use the hand records or the dealing machine. You can use the old-fashioned way of paper. And the director could read all boards in the session. So all of those remain permissible. It does not come out of the dealing machine. Okay, any motions for reconsideration? Okay, thank you. Now, we have 5 motions on the agenda, and we may have a 6th that I was asked about. Linda transitioned to speak on another matter. I'm just going to take things in order. If there's anything I don't know about, it comes after what I already know about. I'm going to ask Steve Mose to give for old business a very brief report, very briefly, on the committee.
Hi everybody, Steve Mose, 11. I'd like to report what we've been working on for teachers and children. Basically, we've felt there are 5 things important this year, and I want to start off by telling you about those 5 things very briefly. You'll find a bit more detail in the Board of Governors document space, and PAR, the ACDL, and the Board have been working on these already, so I think we're going to see some progress. But basically, the point of view is, it's time for us to engage in joint, active, mutual promotion with key partners. So think of what we're doing with Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is somewhat of a one-way street. Money for them, that pays us. When we give money to them, we want something in return. So the notion of mutual benefit, our benefit being members, is what they say drive as well. And there are a number of ways that will play out. Okay, think about benefit in insurance companies. Okay? If people identify as a credit player, maybe there's interest in having them as part of your insurance here. Nothing's along those lines, okay? So getting insurance companies to vote for it would be a wonderful thing to do. Pie in the sky. Second, creating resources along with this model to incentivize contributions to youth. This is the notion that teachers need lesson plans, teachers need lesson plans, teachers need lots of things. A lot of time is spent preparing that. If every teacher has to do it on their own, somebody is recommending it. And we'd rather have teachers spend time on bringing people into the grid than spending time preparing for class. Number 3, how about using the grade to engage in play? Think about it. Did you learn bridge at a regional? Did you learn bridge at an NABC? Did you learn bridge at Duke? Okay? How about using rubber bridge as a gateway? How about setting up a bridge membership with the ACDL as a way to provide social benefits to rubber bridge players, and then all of the CRM information we want for new players, for duplicates. Some interesting thoughts. Topics of interest that we did not think is appropriate to work on right now. The primary one is residual fees for teachers. So you teach somebody, they go out and start playing. Clubs bring people in, go out and start playing tournaments. The clubs and the teachers get no benefit from wanting to spend some tournaments. Maybe they should have a way to try to close that because those people have made a big contribution. Okay, and the final point I'd like to offer is that we're really asking the ACDL to reconsider special games based on age or gender, differences. So when we start thinking about senior games, the impact on that is actually exclude players that really want to play on that day. And we don't, a lot of clubs are starting to refuse to play those games. They don't want to exclude those players. So we ought to be rethinking how we do some of these special games that are reasonable. Thank you.
I'm going to move to the, I know they would like us out of here at 11:30. I don't know if it's possible, but I'm going to move to Bob Tony, who's first on the list.
Apologies if this is out of order now, but I didn't understand the fact of reconsideration, and I would like to pose a request reconsideration of the entire staff proposal passed by the board. I believe there is an economic disaster. Many clubs will opt out. There'll be no way to know when club of board 17 will be duplicated. There'll be no way to know. The entire concept is incorrect. And if it's possible, I'd like to suggest reconsideration of the motion.
Is there anybody who wishes to second that? Okay, brief discussion on that. The board is going to, anybody else have anything to say? Okay, I call this question. Okay.
Adam will still disagree. I think this cross-field duplication gives only the appearance of more fair. In any game, the real opponents are the players in the same direction, the same side. And the players of other sides are mostly relevant. Any difference that you would get in different sites are relatively weak. I mean, if I wanted to say the same hands everywhere, for publicity purposes and maybe social purposes, I could talk to my friends across the town about it. I don't think this is fair.
Okay, Jay, and then we'll call this question.
Just a point of order. I think Mr. Goldberg's comments about maybe area are out of order because the motion was floor in second. And it doesn't deal with the reconsideration question.
No, I think it did, but okay. In favor of reconsideration. Opposed, please. Opposed to reconsideration. The motion failed.
Okay,
Bob.
Good morning, Bob. District 25. First off, District 25. You don't know me, I spent the last 2 years as president of District 25. I'm currently the president of 108. I do own a baseball program at my motion has to do with 173.45, which is the temporary membership. And I think that this is a critical thing. Bahar, when we spoke in Toronto about temporary memberships, I was ecstatic that we were considering doing it because I felt that this was critical. I was happy that it passed, but I wasn't happy with the way that it passed. So I would like to just I put on the first half the original motion, except that 4.2 is not exactly the original motion, it's actually a copy of my motion. The original sorry. The original motion says $5 for recruiting, not it's a 30 days. I feel that 30 days is inadequate for a new member. Well, for the people in this room, 30 days might represent tournaments and 10 club games. For the average newcomer, that might represent 1 club game and 2 club games, and that's it. Beyond that, we need to leverage our ability with the Bridgeport Board.
Yeah, Bob, can I ask you?
5 in 3 important ways.
One is to change the $7.99 membership for 30 days to $7.99 for 90 days. The 90 days will allow them to get a much better flavor of the ACBL. They'll see continuous bulletins during their membership period that show their 1 master point, their 1.2 master points, etc. It will be much more enticing for them to join. The second part is to change the yearly fee for the newcomers. We always had it $29. Then last year we raised it to $39, and now newcomers are $49. I'm suggesting that we're trying to expense the wrong group. This group is a group that we should be trying to be good to. So I have it to a compromise of $32.99 for the first year, and $7.99 of that would be deducted if they renew within the first 90-day period, making it a $25 fee to join for the first time instead of a $41.01 membership. And the third part of this motion is to establish a new membership packet using information that we currently have. We can have a template for the entire ACBL and then pull out of the database. I'm sure that Mitch and Julia can do this for each region, so that within like 60 miles or unit by unit, the recruiter can order packages that will show the upcoming tournaments, the upcoming club games, and make people aware. So instead of saying, here's my $7.99, now what? We're saying, here's my $7.99, and here's what. So the membership packet would be very doable. I'd be willing to work with anybody that wants to do it in order to get it done. So my motion is to pass those three things as a slate, and if there's problems with them, I'd like to break them down one by one and have them passed.
Okay.
Question.
Bahar, I think, has some comments, and then we'll take more questions or comments on the floor.
So I think it's interesting, Bob, that great minds continue to think along similar paths. It turns out that our 1 month temporary membership actually is a 2 month temporary membership. And this stays within this room. We're going to just kind of keep it among ourselves, but we automatically give every member a 1 month grace period. So everybody who gets a temporary membership will have a month of full membership, and they'll get a bulletin, and then they'll have at least a month of grace, and they'll get another bulletin. And some of them, given the way the calendar works, might even get 3 bulletins and 3 months. So we're probably almost there on your first one. It's 2.5 instead of 3. Your last one, as far as the package and the follow-up, absolutely planned. We did not codify it. We didn't think it made sense for us to codify exactly how we're going to do it. And that's just because, I mean, we wanted to have some flexibility, go with local stuff, test stuff out. So 1 and 3, we're pretty much aligned with you already. 2, the question of what a new member price ought to be and whether it should be different from another member price. The reason we didn't want to do it is that once we have PCI certification, we can auto-renew. We want people to be able to auto-renew for the same price they start with. And if you start them with $29 or $25, they can't auto-renew at $49. They'd have to put in all their credit card information again. It probably seems like a silly reason to you, and it's not the best marketing, but it's a convenience factor for everybody if we don't have to go through 2 entries of credit card information. And we always worry we'll lose somebody the second time they put in their information. So we thought about them. Like I say, great minds were thinking about the same things. We came to a different conclusion, but I appreciate your input on it. And this is to us still an experiment. We don't know how it's going to work out. So we were hoping in Atlanta and then probably in Honolulu again, we might make some small changes. And it may turn out that we change in your direction. We might change a different direction. So that's where we are right now.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I'm still going to ask for a second for the motion, and I think that if you're at 2.5 months, then 3 months shouldn't bother you much, but I don't think that we should be worrying about the PCI compliance issue, because I think that you can work that out also electronically. I'm an API guy. I think I could help you with that if you needed it. But
do we have a second for this motion? Okay, thank you. All right. Yeah.
Hi, Danny Sprung, District 17. If there's an issue with changing the fees, why don't we just send them like a $20 bridge bucks that they'll have to spend at a local club or tournament anyway and incentivize them to play?
Danny suggested sending them $20 in bridge bucks if there's an issue with the fees. Okay, one more on this, two more on this, and then we've got to move on if we need to get to everybody.
Brett Cunin, District 3, President of Unit 140. I think Bob's motion has a lot of merit. There's been an extensive discussion of this issue on bridge winners, and I think there was a consensus that it might be more practical to have a 90-day free trial and maybe just bump it to $9.99. This would also help the ACBL in terms of credit charge, because the lower the credit charges are, normally is the increase of the percentage on the fees.
Okay, Linda.
Very quick comment. You mentioned sending the bulletin. That, I don't understand the bulletin. However, Audrey Grant publishes a magazine that is directed at newcomers, and I think that would be a better magazine to send to the new people.
Thank you, Linda. I actually had tea last night with Audrey, and we looked over. It's called Better Bridge. It's a really great magazine, and it's very well oriented towards beginners. So it's something that we're going to have to look at. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Linda. Thank you.
Okay, now we have both mics. Both mics should be good now, so that's good news. Thank you, Wendy. I'm going to call the question on this motion. If you wish to have Bob Bertoni's motion supported, please raise your green paddles if you favor his motion. Looks like we're going to... Well, the motion is item 181-GO1.
It's very complicated in your written materials. I can't spend the time to read it, I'm sorry.
So you're asking about the whole thing, Richard?
Yes, the whole thing. Those in favor of the whole thing. Hold them high. Those against, please. Motion passes. Okay. Item number 2, the second motion is Steve Gaynor.
Hello,
I'm Steve Gaynor from District 14, Minnesota. And I'm just asking that National, we have two sessions recently rated over fair game, Blue Ribbon qualifier, and we played many boards, all partners, played a number of boards, 26. Maybe we do a 28 discrepancy at most. Just much fairer to do that rather than have sections where you're playing 33 boards played, you're only playing 27 of them. We have a lot of uncommon boards, and it's fair. That's more fun. Fair rated areas for 10 cents.
And what you're asking is that this be a recommendation rather than a requirement.
The directors have to have some leeway, but I think it's key to do it. Weapons and everything, we got technology.
Let's make it
fair.
Okay. Any comments on this motion?
I second.
Second by Bruce. I can't hear you. Well, again, it's item 181-GO2,
but the basic substance of this motion is to, in the regional session, play a taxpayer to use as few boards as possible in other words, a maximum of hopefully 26 or 28 boards play and no more.
Okay.
All those in favor of this motion? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We'll go to Peter Marks with the motion next and try to summarize
briefly, everybody, the substance of these motions is on the written material on the web. So there may be complex motions, but they're all fully written down.
I'm trying to take this briefly. There were a number of places where ACL conditions of contest give basically unlimited power to, quote, ECL, unquote, to modify conditions for a particular event. This is used in October 1st path to determine to create a completely unfair contest where open and match point limited events are combined together for overall. Motion is that all ACL conditions of contest that gives ACL permission to modify them refers specifically to the ACL board and not to ACL management. That any such changes must be approved by the board in advance, or worst case approved by the board executive committee if there is an emergency situation.
Anybody second that Peter's motion? Thank you. We have a second. Yes. I think the situation that you referred to occurred in District 25, and I believe 24. And what happened there was district access to make change. So that's a good example, actually, in the bottom up. District access to do something we did. So it started with local in this case. Okay, do people have comments on motion number 3? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? All opposed, please. Motion fails. Okay, Peter, you're up again.
The second motion concerns director fees of tournaments. Directors go to tournaments, sponsors charge the professional fee for their work. More and more, some directors, senior directors of tournaments, are taking an extended period of time away from that tournament to do conference calls, other meetings, work on paperwork, etc., which is good for the ACL and a valid function, but is not benefiting the tournament, which is then paying for that session. So that when it is done at a tournament, there'd be a schedule such that the director would lessen charge the ACL would keep this sponsor would pay less when the director was spending time on the ACL function and not on function for that tournament.
Second. Okay, we have a second. Any discussion on this motion? Adam.
The motion seems quite sensible. I'd like to hear the other side of it from management. Is there a standard current policy?
Well, again, to me,
it's a local question. You guys are directly in charge. You guys are very obviously. They're working together to try to figure out the best way to move things forward. We have proposed to the board that we have other ways of charging people and kind of cost. I don't think that we should be charging in terms of cost. So we've suggested 2 different ways of going for more value price approach. If we went to those, I think we used it. We wouldn't have to worry about it. For instance, one of them is to have a fixed price. So every tournament is one fee for however many directors and run that tournament. You don't have to worry about that. I don't like the idea of charging by session. I don't think it's the right tables would be the right measure.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on this motion? All right, all those in favor of this motion, please raise your hand. speaker clear.
Motion
passed.
Okay.
Jay Applebaum, you were the next one. Actually, this is the way I'm saying to go around here. This is the second time I've been the called undeserved beneficiary of the substitution rule for the national and the final stage. The first time was because the friend of the district for Bill Clark passed away. And the second time, this time, was because a personal friend of mine, Tom White, had a heart attack. These are unexpected events. No way Tom could have expected this type of treatment we wanted. And in this case, a boy who was the beneficiary with me last time, now is sidelined. So the motion essentially extends the time extends the substitution rule to unexpected, could not be anticipated medical events that would prevent someone medically from traveling to Charlotte or perhaps medically not being able to play baseball. If you're looking for how to do this and have it be unexpected, at the district final, there is an advantage to that, of course. Any reason you couldn't play in the national final when you go up today. And then the management would be one of the funds to make the call because the board won't be in place and somebody's got to make the call possibly in the last minute. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody
second today's motion? Discussion. Jay, could you explain to me how is the change from the current policy? I'm not aware. The current policy allows for substitution in the event of death and for no other reason at all. Before my previous time, when Bill Clark passed away, the current policy at that time was no. There was no circumstances at all.
So just to clarify, the Jay's motion is to allow you to replace your partner with one of these
unusual events, medical events occurred. Very Sealy District. And question, are you proposing to replace your partner from the pool of players that participated in the district final, or are you proposing that it be anyone in the district?
The current conditions for substitution unchanged. Before, the new partner must meet all the eligibility requirements of the replacement may not previously strengthened or weakened the partnership. That language was existed before when there was no substitution. At the point somebody died, it would be unchanged today. So your question would be no change there.
So what is the answer? That means to be someone that didn't participate?
I think we have to have someone who participated in the final.
The motion, when somebody
died, wasn't answered whether they had to participate in the final or not. My motion doesn't change that question, doesn't answer the question. But who that out? I can't tell it from the existing pool. Okay, Rich.
You are going to do 25. But Jay said it's correct. The microscope for years has not been doing exactly that way. So it has been clear to us. When you wait to that, and you cannot make the national finals, and you finish third, the fourth pair moves up. At that point, the third pair does not have to die. They are not prohibited playing the event. When you play the event, you are not committing to going to the national finals. So I'm not sure what the current rule is. Here we don't do it very often. If you're different 25, this first, second, or third, you can't play before you leave the meeting. Say so. Where the pair moves on. So that's what we need to do right now.
I think that is what would happen if someone said,
Jay's motion goes to the fact that there's a set of medical events between the district final and the national final, which causes, and he would want to allow under those circumstances only the partner who still can play to replace his or her partner. Do we have any further discussion on this? All in favor, please raise your green pass. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I think we have one. Joanne, who stole the motion, wants to present, because I do want to accommodate Linda who wants to say something.
Morning, Joanne from District 17. Just a real quick background. Many districts have a fragrance-free policy. I arrived at the hotel here and found that Marriott was pumping the quote various scents into the lobby, which immediately, if you have a fragrance allergy, you know what I'm talking about. I got sick. After talking with the Marriott manager, I got them to agree to unplug the fragrance machine for the next 2 weeks during the tournament. Then played in the Platinum pairs, and I was lucky enough to follow someone who was doused himself in perfume. I would like to recommend that the league adopt a fragrance-free policy as a standard. Here's my motion. That the ACPL implement an ACPL-wide fragrance-free policy to include, but not limited to, notification on the website, tournament advertising, and coordination with hotels hosting the NABC. Obviously, we cannot require that other people stay in the hotel don't have fragrance. But if the hotel has a policy of putting fragrance in the rooms and in the lobby, there could be some coordination done in advance. So that is my motion.
Second. Okay. All right. If this motion passes, I'll ask you to give it to Kelly in writing so we have a record on it. Is there discussion on this motion?
Linda.
Linda Transit 22. In addition to Joanne's motion, I'm concerned about smoking halls. I went to the pharmacy at 7:45 p.m. I forget what night. I went over the front door, and you can smoke 2 feet from the front door of this hotel. When I went to the drugstore, there were at least 150 cigarette butts on the pavement, and I almost threw up because I couldn't stand the smell of the smoke. So Alan Brandon for I came to offer a friendly amendment to Joanne. I came to offer a friendly amendment to Joanne's proposal, which is that we include the smell of one of the offending fragrances as part of the amendment. Because aside from this problem with people outside the hotel, we have a smoke problem in our playing area by people who are persistent smokers who often go out in the hills and smoke and breathing smoke. People with allergies, not only to fragrances and smoke, it's also a problem. Not only do we smell it, but the way we get it on our clothes. So I would offer that to Joanne. My personal preference would be for them to be considered separately. Smoking is a little more controversial than perfume. But I would prefer to have them considered a separate motion.
All right.
That's how we'll have to do that. The separate motion is to make it. Go ahead. Emergency to this, and I think that's that right behind the person Joanne's talking about. First night in Platinum Pairs. He's right behind him. He thought he smelled it. He advised to just let it go around the two dissipated. So, this is sort of an aside that whatever regulations we have enforced now are not really being enforced.
Okay. I don't think we
hold it.
Is there anybody who wants to
speak against this motion?
All right.
All those in favor of,
I'm sorry. you want to speak against it, please go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't want, this is the attorney as well, I don't want to speak against it, but I need a clarification. Someone mentioned under fragrance 3 that we were talking about perfume, but fragrances are also included in shampoos and soaps and lotions. Are we banning all fragrances or just that from perfume? You know, I gotta say, at least our district has a fragrance free, at least our local permits have a fragrance free notice on all of our tournament materials, and it's never been an issue. Obviously, you know, we can't have people buying special fragrance free things, but they don't need to add fragrance perfumes on themselves. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's not easy, but it's just like a notice, sensitive, we call it sensitive, do not have fragrance.
Many districts have this, and I think we can hopefully, if this passes, we can work out something reasonable. Again, I know Linda wants to speak on something else. All those in favor of this motion, please raise your paddles. All opposed? Motion passes. Linda, go ahead with your discussion.
I would like to make motion and about the smoking thing as a separate motion. I don't think I need to say anything else.
Well, you need to say the motion. You already have a motion. You want better enforcement outside.
Yeah, like 2 feet from this hotel.
And also, you want your motion. I mean, you want your motion to deal with smoking as part of fragrance. Is that
no, separate. Yeah, to be separate. I want smoking to be dealt with because we go to all different hotels, and if you're in California, you can smoke anywhere. And then come to Philadelphia, and I walk out the front door and they stink. So I just wanted to be considered as alternative site.
Well, okay. It's a little vague. I'm sure your motion has stated in the way you're voting.
I didn't know, and she just asked for a separate motion for the board to...
Do you want to clarify your motion? Perhaps then we can get a motion on the floor that we can understand, so we can get it in a minute. Thank you.
I am. Sounds like trying to organize motion along the same lines as Joanne's proposal about
all right.
Smoking smell smoke as a fragrance offense.
Okay.
In our fragrance policy. Or as a separate policy. As a separate policy.
Okay. Does that work for you, Linda?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody wish to second that motion? All in favor? We have one discussion.
Just something that
I'm a little concerned about. As I recall, the distance one has to be from a public building in order to smoke. Depends on what municipality puts the secret. And the ACL, unfortunately, doesn't control that. But what we do control is what you smell like, and then you walk into a playing game. So I think our best bet is to focus this motion on what people smell like when they come into the board of flavor.
Brett.
Real quickly, I think the motion was about America, but I think the negotiation on any exterior has to be negotiated by the ACL with the hotel in terms of all the people who play sites as opposed to within our firm.
All right.
In addition, I did talk to hotel staff here, and I try to go out at 7:45 and clean up the mess. Because when I walk back in, I'm so comfortable.
Okay. We still have several comments, so move it quickly. I I don't think we have a lot of opposition to this one. Jay?
I think the gentleman makes a point that if somebody smells a smoke, a tournament director, upon seeing it, would tell them, move out of the area and get your smell rid of. And it's just a subjective test by the tournament director or some member of staff on site. And I would move to change the motion to be that.
Allison, do you accept that amendment? Allison accepts that amendment. Okay. Barbara.
I go outside, look like this attitude. Of course, hopefully everybody is in the area. Of course, but it's a lot. I mean, it's exactly what you expect me to do that.
Richard, there were
no pantry, houses from the buildings that I want. Correct, straight up, left the street there. There are aspects in front of everything. And there's nothing area in the front
Okay. I don't think we can control what the local municipal law. Unfortunately, it's the city of Philadelphia. We can't control that. Last two comments.
All of these make sense to me, but policy will not make it very difficult with direction. So when the person goes to direction and says, this person sounds too strong for me, are we asking the director to make them leave? Are we getting that money back? What are we doing? So I think that you need more enforcement on it in order to clarify this to make perfect sense. I'm not opposed to any of it. It's just that we need enforcement on policy. Otherwise, no policy has no backbone.
Okay. Very quickly, we've got to move on.
Do respect the limit about what's going on outside of the hotel. Do respect the last comment. If we don't start now, trying to enforce something, pressure on the director. Do respect the last comment. If we don't start now, because it's like a little pressure on the director. We are not doing right by our players. The ones who don't know, who don't want to be enlisted is the problem. And the problem will be to start taking some action on this issue. So I appreciate all the time, and I think we should make a move on this now.
All right. Let's do it completely different.
I'll point, I believe there is a segment, something in the CPR about referencing body. Now, Allison relayed to me when she called the director, they said they could do something with the bad body odor, but there's nothing in the CPR about smoke smell. And there's nothing in the CPR about spring fragrance. So it could be put in the CPR and given some authoritative
Okay, we're call this question. 5
minutes. One addition to what Joanne said. I called the director of San Diego because one opponent came to our table in the Brewers Affairs, and I had to slide away about 5 feet from the table. The person smelled so bad body. The director is doing it.
Okay. All those in favor?
We have a player who is looking for these issues. I dealt with them and one of those working with the national report. So you can't fire a player of any of these issues.
All right. Call the question. All those in favor of the motion, which I believe is basically that smelling like smoke is also in the playing area is also considered an offense. And the director deal with it appropriately. All in favor of that motion, and we'll ask Allison to write it out and pass it. Paddle only. All against. Motion failed. Okay, Linda, as quickly as you can, you want to talk about process before the Board of Justice.
This report is about access to board government forums. Mine has knowledge of the
Okay. Better? All right. I've run into people here that they don't know me as a new friend. But they do know me because my first husband, whose name is Howard, So some of you do know me, even though you don't think you do. I'm going to name some names. I've positioned for mention favors, and I've personally spoken to them, except the first two. I want to thank Tony Frigo for wonderful support and customer service from ACCI. We have known each other well for many years and had a wonderful relationship. She used to be Kelly Dwyer, one of her half director of elections. And as you know, elections occur every year. The Board of Governors membership changes January of the second year. Thanks, Kelly, you're in the room right now. And for your first Board of Governors meeting, I think. The second person I want to thank is Adam Harris of Bridgewater. He's been an exciting factor to help me as there have been issues. He responds almost instantly to every request. Some have objected that the Board of Governors forum is not on the ACO website. Board of Governors is the oversight body of the ACO Board of Directors. I do not believe Board of Governors oversight should be in the ACO for certain reasons. BOT has a lot of power. BOT supports ACO bylaws and is very difficult. I quickly realized Bridgewater was going to become popular for many reasons. Now it's so popular that at any given day, there can be 100 comments in any thread, and many wander off topic. That's fine. The forum membership is first alternate, second alternate, and 3 FS members from every district. 125 people. Other members are hosting presidents, or currently not on the Board of Directors, as well as former chairman of the Board of Governors and ACO Vice President. Kelly says we're separate, and together we think we find the action. There were dead There are currently 63 board members in the forum. When the forum was created, I had approximately 40 people that were all just registered as members. To be admitted to the forum, we must be a member of Bridgewater. To join, we must go through the approval process and use your name. Next, you contact me via email. Our chairman is the proper of whatever job. I have the time to do the work. We speak often. My email is Please do not contact me via personal message to the Bridgewater. PM both me and from me as I was in training. A couple of examples. One person PM me for access, and that request was someone named Tricia. Someone that direct that person to Richard. Access, first name. I figured out ACBDEF was that individual's Bridgewater logon ID. Therefore, all I had was a first name of the district. 3, I've received requests from some Board of Government members I know.
Yeah, we allowed Linda to speak. Yeah, but, okay. Linda, if you could give us just
their names as quickly as possible. And here's a name. Ken Monzingo lost the 27 Board of Directors election in District 22. In January 1st, I deleted a former Board of Governors member, David Lodge, as he is the current District 22 Director. Board of Director members are not in the forum. I added Ken Monzingo to the forum as he is a former president. He called and informed me he couldn't access the forum. I contacted Adam. Ken had not signed into Bridgewater since December. I knew what happened. He was simply looking at the Bridgewater site. I asked him to sign into Bridgewater and he would have forum access. He called again, he signed in and showed up as Betty Bratcher. I contacted Adam, who told me Betty Bratcher was in Bridgewater on March 8th, 2018. I called Betty, and she told me he has not used Bridgewater for months. So I have a problem, and Adam will fix it. Last, Ellen Kent was originally appointed to the Board of Governors when she resided in Chicago. She moved to District 23, LA in 2007 and was elected to the Board of Governors. She moved in January from District 23 back to Chicago. She resigned from 23 and changed her membership to District 13 in December. A mistake was made. She showed up on the website as a District 13 board member. She's a longtime convention committee board site.
Okay,
I'm almost done. Ellen
You're
did
done. You're done.
Okay.
Take a show of hands.
I have a question for all district presidents. Is there a procedure to fill Board of Governor vacancies? Kelly and I have decided the best way for me to determine who Board of Governor members are is to use the APCO website list of members. I print that list weekly and compare it against requests to the website. I'm the only person that edits the form list. If something doesn't match, I direct the asker to Kelly. Sometimes she does something instantly, sometimes she doesn't have the information.
Okay, this is fine, we're done.
Okay, wait.
No, we're done. We're done. Okay,
I would like to say how...
no, you're out of order. April.
I would like to know what the
Harassment policy is for the APCL for members. And if you have one, what is the procedure if you have a citizen complaint? I would like to know how it's done. You don't have to answer right now, but I asked somebody to report her and get an unlawful behavior. I would like to know how. Thank you.
My name is
April Appleton.
Yeah.
My boss.
Yes.
April,
if you could communicate with Linda, she'll answer. Yeah, you may submit it in writing up to Okay. Any other motions? Okay. I have one request from a member. I want to poll the membership again about paperless meetings. Whether she wants to go back to paper. This member is what is the general sense that this member hearing is not on a laptop, so it's difficult for all of you. Our general sense, raise your green bell if you want to go back to paper meetings rather than paperless meeting. Please do so very fast. And this other lady.
On the paperless thing, I would go with paperless, but I think we need to have paper copies of the couple people who need them. Just a couple of people.
Okay. All those in favor of going back to paperless?
No.
Going back to paper. All those in favor of going back to paper? All those against? I'm sorry. Okay. We ask that everybody clean up their trash. Besides that, Ruby is going to make another motion, please.
I just want to thank everybody, and just thank you for testing me. So I just want to approval to use like mustard. Move and second that all members who have achieved like mustard move that the sincerity and appreciation of all of us and extended district for all its units. This week I recommend and all of and number 5, we also need to say celebrate good news and still be friendly, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any other business for this board? Meeting is adjourned.